To say thank you all for coming out today for our tip-off media day here. Just really excited for what this upcoming season is going to bring. We've got a very competitive non-conference schedule for sure, and one that's going to test us early. But I'm really excited about it, and I know the kids are excited, and looking forward to what will be a very exciting season. So would love to open up for any questions, give you all a chance to ask anything you like, and then follow through with some comments.
You've been working with the team for a while with so many new faces. How well are they coming together as a group?
Yeah, they're working hard. It's still a work in progress. We're still working on combinations on the floor, who plays well together, who really enhances the other one's game. That's going to be something that will go through, I think, the first few games. We had one scrimmage on Sunday. We have another one coming up here. Give us a chance to play against somebody else, which is a good thing. And then when we get into our first game there in Paris, we'll still have some combinations that we're trying to figure out what works the best. But having as many quality players as we do have a lot of youth. It's going to be trying to figure out, as the year progresses, from the freshman side of things, just trying to talk to them about consistency. Instead of having the ups and downs, try to stay as consistent as we can throughout the season.
Jeff, now that you have a couple practices in this preseason under your belt, how have you seen this team dynamic shift with there being a contingent of players who have been around the block and then there being a contingent of players who are entering in their first year at the collegiate level?
Well, I think our returners are doing a really nice job of, integrating with our freshmen. Even with Jalea Williams coming in as a transfer, she's still got ACC experience for 4 years at Miami, played in an Elite Eight game. So she's got some postseason experience as well. It's been a good group. I mean, they've all really come to work every single day. They're really focusing on just getting better one day at a time. We're not a team that we're going to be able to look too far in front. We've got to take care of what's right in front of us that day. We can't worry about next week, and we're not even at a point right now that we're worrying about the first game. There are things we've got to get taken care of just in order to play that first game. So there's still a lot of basketball left to be taught, but I like the way they approach each day.
Jeff, you kind of always taken seasons and said, look, it's a process. What you are at the beginning is not what you're going to be at the middle and of course the end. But what can you possibly expect from this group in that first game, being against a top 5 opponent and being in a place like Paris?
No, I think the number one thing that we can expect is the unexpected. Now, if that didn't sound like a politician, I don't know what the hell it is. Damn, I'm running for office. Now, we can kind of expect the unexpected, and then when when it's not expected, you're really expecting it. We vote for me now or what? I've confused you all so much, now shit, I'm running. It's going to be fun. I mean, there's no question about it. Having the opportunity to take the team to Paris, we're going to get a chance to see some sights, take in the culture of Paris. Basketball, I know they're going to compete. We're going to come out and compete. There's no question about it. We are going to be playing a very experienced team with a lot of returning players that made a deep run last year in the NCAA tournament. Very, very talented team, well coached. We're going to have to make sure we play it 5 minutes at a time. You can't get too excited after a 5-minute stretch, and you can't get too down. And if you start worrying about the score, then that's when things can become a problem. And that's what we've been talking to our kids about, just trying to make sure we're one possession at a time. If you turn the basketball over, it can't turn into a defensive mistake as well. We've got to try to limit the number of live ball turnovers that we have. We've got to be able to get back and play 5-on-5. And that's in every game that I look at the first 10. is we've got to be able to make this a 5-on-5 game and not a bad pass for a layup, and it's a 3-on-1, it's a 3-on-2. But I'm expecting a very competitive game.
Jeff, you talked about the first 10, but in the first 9, 6 of them are on the road.
Yes.
What's that going to be like with such a young group, and what can you learn from your team during their stretch?
You're going to learn how our kids handle playing on someone else's home floor, how they handle, a crowd cheering against them, not for them. But they've all experienced those things throughout their playing careers. I mean, they played as competitively in high school as you can. Then they've all played travel ball. They played everywhere. So it's a new day where everybody knows everybody on every team because they played against them for years. So it's not like you're going to go play UCLA in Paris and it's like, oh, I don't know those kids. They all know each other. So for us, it's just going to be more of a matter of us taking care of what we can control and not worrying about everybody else.
Jeff, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of the other freshmen that you've brought in, but Reagan is somebody here locally, obviously a proven winner at Sacred Heart, grew up loving this school. How have you seen her kind of work her way in?
Yeah, Reagan's done a really nice job of adjusting from day one to now. It's been fun, and I think she would tell you the same thing. Everybody thinks they know what it's going to be like. That's myself going back 30-something years at Northern at NKU. You go watch them play, and you're like, God, I can play here. And then all of a sudden you step on the floor, it's like, damn, they're quicker than I thought. They're bigger than I thought. They're stronger than I thought. And it takes a little bit of an adjustment. She's really done a nice job of adjusting to the speed of the game, the quickness of the game. And right now, I've challenged her more in practice just when she's got an open shot to take it. Don't pass up good opportunities to score because at this a level of play, they don't come around all that often. When you get a clean look, you got to have your feet set and ready to shoot it. But what she's done is she's always won. The kid knows how to win, and she brings that to our team. So she's been great so far in the preseason, and excited to see how it progresses throughout her freshman year.
Jeff, with so many newcomers on the team, how much do you lean on Olivia, Marissa, and Jada, both on and off the court?
Well, all of our returners are going to have to, make sure that they've stepped up a notch from last year. The other one that's really been playing well for us is Isla. She had a gap year last year. She finished high school, then played some on a very competitive team. So she was fortunate enough to have a year of playing after her senior year. And it shows. When you get that year to play against older kids and the speed of the game, it's not really impacting her as much. So she's really played well for us so far in the preseason. And then Aleph has played well as also. So those are two other ones I think that are kind of helping our freshmen get adjusted to it. Because it's just the speed of the game, the strength of the game are big adjustments. And I think once they can learn to handle those things, I think you're going to see a pretty good basketball team.
Jeff, you talked before about Jada and her consistency being important for her this season. Establishing that, is that something that she needs to work on more in practice in the games, or where do you see that the biggest need for that to occur?
Everything she does. It starts in practice. It starts in pre-practice. It starts when you're in the gym for individual workouts. I just talked to her this morning again. Her consistency, the consistent competitiveness is what I need to see. And that's what I'm challenging her with. Like, you've got to come to practice every day wanting to be the best player. And that doesn't mean you're going to score the most points, but you need to want to have the biggest impact on the floor, when you're off the floor, when we're doing shooting drills, we're doing rebounding, whatever it is, I'm challenging her to want to make the biggest impact. And at times, she likes to take the back seat and kind of watch. And I'm like, no, you got to be willing to get in the front seat. And when things are going great, that's good. But when it's going bad, you also have to be in that front seat to try and stop things. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she continues to progress, because she is one that has the experience. She can score the basketball. She can handle it. And now I need her to be more of a leader, and not necessarily a vocal leader, but I'm talking about stepping on that floor and competing day in and day out.
Jeff, you took a true freshman to the ACC tip-off from McKinley Randolph, but in talking to her up there, she seemed like a freshman. She seemed like a junior, senior, just like all the other players that were up there. Are you seeing that kind of maturity from her as she's entering her first year here?
Well, she's our most vocal player on the team by far. You know, in practice, she's talking, she's in there, she's talking, she's on the side, she's talking, it does not matter. And those are the small things I'm trying to get the rest of them to start to do on a consistent basis. So when you've got that in you, the ability when, hey, things might not be going great for you, but I can still talk and encourage, then it's what leaders are made of. And that's where I'm hoping she'll continue to progress. Have success on the basketball court, because I know what she's going to do off the court, and that's encourage. Try and make sure everybody's on the same page.
I know her and Isla are their own players, separate from their fathers, but when you remember those guys playing, Gilbert and Zach, do you see any of their games in their kids when they're on the court, any traits that you remember watching from those guys?
Well, I never really watched them much. I was more watching film of myself. You know, I just really couldn't. I don't think either of them could have guarded me back in '90. So, no, I mean, were they okay players?
They were pretty good.
Were they?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Every now and then, you know.
I'll challenge them to a shooting match. I don't think they'll accept it, but
Can we film that?
no. Well, I hope you have. I mean, only speak the truth. I still got the footage on my film. If you want me to bring it down, I mean,
Yes, that'd be great.
my pull-up jumper, the shorts that we used to wear back in high school. I mean, God, the uniforms our kids would die if we brought out what we had to wear back in '86, '87. They would not play. They'd be like, I am not going on that floor, and that's the truth. They'd fall over.
Yeah.
No, they're, you know what, they're their own kids. They're out there competing and playing hard. They're both a joy to coach. They're fun to watch. They're going to come in as a freshman. They're going to have good games. They're going to struggle. They're going to have good games. They're going to struggle. It's what every freshman does. Everybody thinks you come in, you start here, and it's just an upward climb, and it's just great. Everything just goes straight uphill. It's not the way it works. And that's my job, is to try to make sure I'm prepared. I'm like, hey, when you stumble, it can only be one step. You can't go down 5. You know, and then stop yourself, and then start working your way back up again. But they both compete. Like I said, they're extremely coachable and fun to be around.
Jeff, I know you pride your teams pretty much in defensively. Is that the one thing that you, not concerned, but worry about this early in the year with such a young group, is you want them to really dig in and play hard defensively? Well,
Yeah, defense is something that comes along with the territory. I mean, you're going to have to compete here, but I'm more concerned about scoring the basketball. You know, trying to get us into an offensive flow where everybody feels comfortable. They know when to take the good shot. They know how to try to get each other shots. You know, we don't need to hunt shots, but we also need to be aggressive to attack the basket. Then if someone comes over to help, we got to be able to make the right pass. Defense, with as many young kids as we have, will be a work in progress. We're going to get better after each game because we're going to have more live film to show them. You can teach and preach and practice, and it's great, and you can show them film. But once you get game footage, then that's when you can really start making a lot of progress.
Jeff, speaking about that, you say defense is still a work in progress, but how has Jalea Williams' impact and her defensive capabilities kind of helped shape the defensive identity of this team early?
Yeah, she's been great. She is one that can put pressure on the ball 94 feet. She's able to, disrupt an offense. We're going to need her to do those things. I've talked to her. She's got to be willing to take chances at the defensive end of the floor, come up with some steals off the ball, and not necessarily always trying to pick someone as they're bringing it up the floor. Make them pass it, get into a gap, and when that pass comes, try and shoot a passing lane. So she is one that has really brought a different level of energy for us at the defensive end.
Jeff, what kind of difference has Amanda already made on your staff as a former head coach and joining you guys this year?
No, Amanda's been great. It's one of the things when we had Beth Burns here, it's nice to have someone who's been in that chair and understands what comes along with it. I think she does a great job on the floor. She's come in and blended in extremely well with my staff that was here. She really does a nice job of sitting down and having dialogue, of discussing, hey, what about this? What do you think of this? I like that you guys do this. I think we can add this. And I think that's what makes a coach good, is someone who's able and willing to come into a new environment, and instead of just trying to say, hey, you should do this, it's, I like what you do there, but maybe we can tweak it and also add this. And she's really brought a lot of knowledge. I think she's really, really good on the floor with our players. The team has really enjoyed her being here as well. So it's been a win-win for all of us.
How'd that come about? As you reach out to her, she reach out to
Yeah, I had always had the utmost respect for her, and she was someone when I'd see on the road we'd talk, and it just happened. I think the last 4 years in the ACC tournament, their hotel was ours, so we'd see each other in the lobby and talk, and had a mutual respect for each other. And when Macy at the time, who was our ops, decided to go back and become a full-time nurse, and then I moved Courtney up to the ops spot. We just had a spot that was open, and I just called and asked if she wanted to come and join us and be a part of it, and we're fortunate she said yes. Anybody else with anything? Yes, sir.
I was, could you talk about the growth of women's basketball, and with the success of, players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and in the WNBA, and what you've seen firsthand internationally, how the women's basketball has grown?
Yeah, I think our women's game has grown exponentially here this past year and a half or so. And a lot of it is obviously because of the talented players, but social media has had a big impact on that. I've said it before, the best player I've ever coached is Angel McCoughtry, and the best player I've ever coached against is Maya Moore. But we didn't have the instant publicity that we have now back when Angel and Maya were playing. They both did things on the floor that I still haven't seen. But you unless you were at the game, or unless ESPN showed a clip of it, which they didn't cover women's basketball as much back then, it's still hard to find, say, a 10-second highlight or a breakdown of a women's game if it's not being aired. But because of social media, man, somebody makes a big-time move, you might be watching on ESPN Plus or someplace else, and all of a sudden someone puts it out, and then it gets reposted and reposted. Well, it's viral. Things that Maya Moore and Angel McCoughtry did, unfortunately, they weren't put out viral because we just didn't have it then. But it's great now because people are able to see how talented and gifted these players are. And I think that's one of the reasons now that our game has grown as much as it has, is because we're getting the media attention and we're able to show people, hey, there's some pretty doggone good basketball players out here. And I think it's going to continue to grow because of that. Internationally, it's fantastic. I love the opportunities I've had to coach internationally. Just a little bit different style of basketball, but the fan bases are great, and it's exciting as they can bring noisemakers into the game and do a few different things compared to what we're allowed to here.
Jeff, have you seen Amari Berry kind of progress over these last few months, especially after you brought in Amanda Butler, someone who she was originally committed to at Clemson?
Yeah, Amari's making progress as we've gone here for the first few months. For all of them, it's what you see now. They're going to be a lot better here come January. It's a big change for all of them. But she is an extremely talented kid that can score the basketball. She's a little bit too unselfish for me right now. She looks to pass before she looks to try to score. And as I've tried to explain to her, if you look to pass first all the time, it's not going to be there because nobody's going to give you the respect or worried about your scoring. So I'd rather have you attack the basket, go up to score, and if help comes, make the pass. Then attack the basket, go up the pass, and if it doesn't come, then have to adjust to try to shoot. But overall, very coachable. She wants to be elite, and she works at that level. So I've got great expectations for her. Anybody else with anything? Y'all are fantastic. Appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, Coach.
You have any Roth IRA advice today?
Well, let's check on the market today.
We're no longer streaming.
Yeah. How are we doing?